Hello everyone, welcome to another week in our garden. Very sort of overcasty sort of day today. We keep getting a big black cloud coming across and drops a few spots of rain, and then the sun comes out. It's a bit like April, with showers weather really. Now we're harvesting this week, quite a bit to harvest. There's the pumpkins they want sorting out into their circles. We need to put some carrots in the raised bed, so we'll get on with harvesting and do the little bit of work on our way up. Okay, now we're going to start in the greenhouse, and there's a couple of cucumbers to harvest, so we'll start the harvest with the cucumbers. We'll take them and have a look. There's one, a few scratches on it, but that's no problem. We'll get the other one. If I just pass this to Diane, then I'll get it. There you are, it's a nice cucumber, that one. I'll just take it if I can. That's the other one. As you can see, there's another 1, 2, 3 on that one following. And well, there's at least another one on that one, so there's plenty more coming through. These are the next batch of Fem Spot, which will follow those. I'll get these potted into 10 litre pots. There's 4 of them, so we've got to follow on as these stop fruiting. Okay, so there you are, nice pair of cucumbers to start the harvest off. Right, we'll just go right down to the bottom of the garden now. I think we'll start at the rhubarb and get some of that lifted. Now we're down the bottom of the garden. We've got some big black clouds coming across. I just thought I'd show you how well the sweet corn's picked up before we harvest the rhubarb. It's picked up quite well, and it's coloured up well as well. You can see the difference in the first and the second set, but they'll be fine, I'm sure. Yes. I'm going to pick some of the rhubarb. I'm trying and get as many of the red stalk as possible, because it is a little sweeter for us. Okay, so I'll get on and show you what I've done. There you are, that's the rhubarb harvested. We took mainly the red stems. We will harvest once more this year, maybe in a fortnight or so, and that'll be it. We'll leave it to rest then. Now that's a good crop, a good pick. It's a little bit dirty because we had a massive storm last night. We had about 3/4 of an inch of rain in the night, really heavy rain. But that'll wash off and it'll be a nice crop. Now we're at the pumpkins now. As you know, I like to put my pumpkins in circles. Now I started out with 9 plants and now we're down to 5. So what I've decided to do, I'll make one big circle, exactly the same. I would have done them in nice circles, but there's not enough plants. I've lost too many over that side in the storms. So we'll do it in one big circle. These are the clips I made to hold the pumpkins down. It's a bit of stout wire with some yellow hose pipe on. I put yellow hose pipe so at the end of the season I can see them to get them out. Then what we do, we'll have a big circle going round, so we're going to go that way. So what we do, you just lift your plant, put him nicely where you want it, and then put one of these just to hold it. I'll go over there and do that one. Now as that one grows a little, I'll actually lift this, put it underneath and put it down again. 2 going in that one. What you'll find is once you've got them down and pinned, can you see that? Look, they're actually putting another root out on the run. So once you get them going, they'll hold themselves well tight into the runs. So we'll put those 2 together and just put the clip over the top. Same again, look, that one's coming through there nicely. That one there is a weed there, looks a nettle. And then again, just pin them down. The beauty of these is plenty of room, so you can get several runners going through them. And then once again here, so we'll bring that to that. That one's going the wrong way, so we'll move that when we get round there. Right, this one at the end, you'll find there it is, look, it's trying to root down, so it's a good job we came today. So I'll bring it round and turn there. I'll grab those two together, look, and pop those in there. So that can go on its way back. You'll find that when they're really growing, the one at that end will actually come round to itself. So this will go right round and back here again. These are going the wrong way, so we just pull them in and put a clip over them until they root themselves down, and then they'll soon be on the way. I'll just put a pin in this one as well. See. The flowers and the pumpkins are showing already, look, so they won't be long. So that will make the circle up for this year. Normally I do smaller circles, but there's not enough plants to do that. Can you see where this one's growing high here, look? So we just take it through the leaves and just pop a pin over it. That's it. They'll sort themselves out now. They'll soon turn. By doing it this way and using the bottles, so when I come to water them, I can just walk along this path and pour the water into the bottles. Now, as it grows, this canopy is going to come right up here, and so you'll not be able to see your bottles, but I put long canes in, so if I could just borrow a bottle off here. So as the canopy comes up, we can just drop another bottle on. And actually, last year we finished up with nearly 4 bottles on these, just to keep them watering. But that's how I build it up. So all I do is come round, water into the bottle. There's no need to wet the foliage or anything. Occasionally I'll just give them a general feed. Same again down the bottles, and it goes straight to the root. There's a bottle at every root. Now, because we've had a lot of rain and it's pounded the soil down, I go over it as soon as I can with the 4-pronged rake, and this stops the soil from crusting and keeps them nice and open. And it also knocks the young weeds out as well, keeps the weeds down. I should do the whole of the garden like that until it's all nice and neat and the weeds knocked out. But I'll do it with this because it's quicker. I just want to show you how the sweet pea arch is doing at the moment. There's a few seed heads we need to take out now, and we need to pick some of the peas and get them in the house. They actually make the kitchen smell absolutely beautiful. To actually be inside the arch, the scent is nearly overpowering, and it also drifts around the garden. It makes working out down here a pleasure with this nice scent drifting about. A little bit of work to do on them to get the seed heads off, but really we need to really keep picking them. Now the tomatoes have done really well down here. I'm so pleased with them because they really took a bashing with the storms, and they've actually, 1 or 2 of the gardener's delight have actually got fruit on them now, so I'm going to pick those while we're here. There's quite a few, to say they've been outdoors. You have to watch these, because if you don't get them as they get ripe, they will split. So really try and pick them a little bit early if you can. But eventually you'll get too many, you'll never be able to keep up with them. I'll just get these few off here and then we'll see if we can get some carrots in. That one's gone in the bottle, look. Now we have to keep picking them as soon as they start to colour, because if we don't, the birds will have them. Now we're just going to the frame and we'll put some of those carrots in. I'm going to use the tapes, if you remember, this year. Now we're at the frame. This is the one that had the potatoes in. We took the soil from what had grown the potatoes. I took them up to the chickens. I put some more soil in and give it a good forking up. It's got plenty of good soil. It's got plenty of leaf mould and plenty of old compost in there. So we should be able to get some good carrots out of it. We've been working next to the apple tree. I kept catching it while I was here. So what I've done, I've actually summer pruned just this side. Next week we'll prune it properly for summer pruning the apple tree. These are the seed tapes we're going to use. It's Autumn King 2, which we would have normally put in, but makes life a lot easier for me to use the tapes now. Now they do suggest that you have carrots 12 inches apart, but that would only give me 3 rows in here. I've gone a little bit tighter, but I'll get an extra row in and I'm sure it'll be okay. Put the tape in at the beginning and put my stone on it, and then I just need to feed that into that little trench. I'll just cut the trenches with the trowel to make life easier. Okay, there you go. Look. I don't think you'll want to do this on a very windy day unless you want to fetch the tapes back. I'll just pop it in, a little bit of an overlap, I think. There's the tapes in. I've done 4 lines now. Now I'll just get the compost. I put compost on top. Spent compost that I've reusing, and I literally just sprinkle it on top. Okay, and then just firm it down so it's touching the tape or the seed, whichever you're using. I'll get the compost on top and then I'll come back to you and show you the next step. So we'll water them in. Compost was plenty dry, so you must give them quite a good drop. There you are. Because of the heat and the sun is very direct now, we put sacks on top. If you remember, we did this last year as well, and we got good germination. What you might have to do is put an odd brick on it just to hold the sacks down, especially if it's windy. And then once you've got your sack on, just water again on top. There you are, a little bit more water than that normally, but you get the idea from how I do it. I shall keep coming down every couple of days just to have a peep underneath, and once the carrots start to germinate, I'll take the sacks off and put the main cover back on, and then just put the lids on to keep the carrot fly out. Now I can't finish this actually because I've left the other sacks up at the shed, so I'll fetch those down later and then show you it next time all done. Keep your sacks nice and moist, they'll germinate no problem. Now as we harvest this little bit of beetroot and lettuce, then the rest of the carrots will actually go in here. Now I'm actually going to lift some of the beetroot as baby beetroot. We'll have a red lettuce and a green lettuce. There you are, look, that's the sort of thing we're looking for, baby beetroot. I'll pop them over there and go through. Take the bigger ones and then the other ones will come along. And be careful you don't damage the tops too much because they'll bleed as you harvest them, okay? There's a nice one, look. Just enough to use as your baby beet. Beautiful and sweet, that will be. So I'll harvest my way through and show you how many I've got. I think that'll be enough now on the baby beetroot. There are some more, but they're just not quite. Another week or so and I can have the same again. We'll just take these lettuce. That's a nice red lettuce, that is. Right, we'll take 2 of these little gems as well. Very nice. I should pull these up and then cut the root off over here. There we are. They're quite firm. Not been in long. That's it, and we'll cut the root here. There you are, look. 3 lovely lettuce they are. I'm getting quite firm as well, so they weren't using. Just going to lift one of these garlic to see what they're like underneath, okay? There you are. So I'll just lift a couple for now, but as you can see the garlic is ready for lifting and drying out as well. That's not bad. We'll just lift another one to do it, and then there's a full row to take out. Got to be careful so don't want to lift too harsh because of the tomato plants. Need the soil on the garden. That's nice. That'll do nicely. I shall come down maybe this evening or probably tomorrow morning and dig all this garlic now, and we'll pop them on the rack to dry, okay? Now I'm just going to lift some more of these early potatoes, the rocket. Not a big cropping potato, but my goodness me, they're a good tasting potato on the table. Beautiful. Everybody we gave some of these potatoes to said how nice they were. Some of the older guys, they said it takes them back to the original old-fashioned new potato taste, which I was well pleased with that one. We'll dig a few for the weekend for ourselves. There we go. You see, they're getting so you really need to be using them now. They're getting a bit big for new potatoes. I'll just clean the hole out. As I say, not a big cropper, but we want at least 3, I think, though. They're lovely and clean, and they're still at that stage where if you just rub the skin it peels, so they still come, say, they're new potato. I'll just turn that pile again. One more root and that should be enough for now. That'll be plenty for us. I don't think we've anybody coming for Sunday lunch this week. Now we're just going to lift a couple of the turnips so we can add them to our salads. Okay. There you are. That is a little bit on the big side. They're called snowball, but I think that doesn't quite qualify. It's more like avalanche apple. There you are. That's the sort of size you want. These are snowball. The ones we normally go are called Milan purple top, but we'll see how we get on with these. I'm going to take another one of these cabbages while I'm here. This would be a savoy. These are very, very early, but they taste beautiful. There we go. There it is. That's the one we're going for. There you are, look. One or two little slug holes, as you know from the rain, but that's a good cabbage. I'm just lifting these purple kohlrabis. We need two, we don't want too many. There you are, that's two of those. Absolutely beautiful, look, clean as a whistle. I like those. There you are, a couple of very nice kohlrabis. They go very nice in the salad, they do. Now I'm going to lift some of these spring onions. We're going to take them a bit small, because if you don't start using them you finish up with lots of big ones towards the end and they're not spring onions no more then. Cabbage in there is called Sienna. That is the coleslaw cabbage. We've had one or two already, as you can see. Right, I'm just going to pull some of these spring onions. We'll just take these three bunches here that are quite large, maybe four, look. But what I do, I put the knife under them just to loosen them. So let's have a look what we got. See why, you see, you don't want much bigger than that. And that one, I think, got a weed or two back here. I'll have to do some weeding. There you are then. We'll take those, I'll just clean them a little and then we'll take them up and wash them. Don't take the soil with them if you can help it. Whatever you do, don't try and pull them apart until you got them in water, and then they come apart very easily. Finally got our way up to plot A. We're going to take a few more of the broad beans while we're here. We've kept doing them in batches. Just one row, 2 batches of picking, and that'll do these this year. When we actually take these out, it'll let a bit more sun into the onion bed at the back, which will help them mature. Remember to leave the roots in. I find it easier to cut them off and then harvest them rather than trying to bend down all the time trying to cut them off. So we'll get picking and show you what we've got today. There you are then, a nice basket full of broad beans ready to cook the house. There's just half a row left, but we'll take those in the next day or so. Don't want to let them get too far on, but we'll take them in the next day or so. Right, so that's the broad beans away. We've finished with the vegetable side of the harvest today. I think now we'll have a cup of tea and then we'll harvest the fruit, the soft fruit in the cage. Okay. Now we've made our way into the fruit cage after our nice cup of tea. First of all, we're going to pick the raspberries out, and then we'll move on to the currants and the gooseberries. They're still producing well, but they're coming towards the end, I believe, now. So we'll get them picked. I'll pick these few raspberries and then I'll come back to you and show you what we've got. There you are then, there's the raspberry pick for today. I do think there'll be just one more pick left on these, and then we'll cut them off and get next year's canes up. Now we'll pick the red currant. Here are then, there's the red currants. They really have come on well. Very pleased with those. Easy to pick. You just pick the bunch. Yes? Just pull them off. Careful you don't pull too hard, else you'll break the leaf joint behind it, then next year you won't get fruit off that branch. I have 3 bushes of red currants. I think the time's against us today, so we'll just pick 1 bush for now, and then we'll move on to the white currants, the black currants and the gooseberries. So I'll pick this bush here and then come back to you. Now there's a basket of red currants. I haven't quite picked the whole of the bush because as you can see they're just not quite ready yet. A little bit more sunshine and then we'll finish. I'm now going to pick some of the red gooseberries. They're all ready, as you can see. I just tasted one actually. They're so sweet, it's unbelievable. Rather hard work picking these. If you don't like the sharp bits, you have to wear gloves, but I usually start from the inside and just keep pulling the berries like that, you see, and that's how I do it. I'll pick some of these red gooseberries and then I'll come back to you. Now there's some red gooseberries that we've harvested. My hands are now so sore, it is a terrible job picking them. We've got green gooseberries that are ready, black currants that are ready, the white currants not quite ready yet, and there's also the blueberries and the blackberries, they're not ready yet. I think we're going to have to call it a day picking wise, because we're running out of time. We've been at it for a long time, and I think we both need a rest from the gooseberry bushes. Now we've had a very busy day harvesting. It's took us quite some time, so now we'll show you what we've harvested today. They're the black currants. I went and picked those while Diane was setting the table up. The red gooseberries, the green ones we didn't get to. Nearly towards the end of the early raspberries, then we'll have the late raspberries to follow. The late ones will probably be the ones that we're storing away. Red currants, always nice. I like picking red currants because they're, when you pick black currants, they're quite easy to pick because they're all on a stem. We'll start right up here if you like. We got some lovely spring onion, that's Guardsman, always does well on this heavy land. We've got a red lettuce and 2 green lettuce. The green ones are Little Gem. We've got beetroot, what we've picked small, what we call baby beetroot. The first of the tomatoes, that's quite good. Quite pleased with that. Then we got the 2 cucumbers that we picked in the greenhouse, if you remember, brought those down. Some kohlrabi and some turnips. I'm a bit worried about this big turnip. I think it might be woody, but it doesn't matter. We'll fetch another small one to go with that. Some lovely rhubarb. Always stores well, rhubarb. It's a good winter crop that we pick now. Some broad beans. I think there's 2 more picks like that, and that'll be the end of those. A savoy cabbage that come in on the early bush. Is very early, but they're very nice. Some of the new potatoes, as we were saying, they're getting a little bit on the big side now for new potatoes, but they taste superb. And those 2 garlic that we dug, which was a bit of a surprise because they do look well. I shall dig the rest of those up and get them hung up and dried. That'll be it for this week. Hope you've enjoyed harvesting with us. Remember to put your carrots in if you want them for winter. Next week we'll prune the apple trees and the stone fruits, and we'll still be harvesting, I think. And we'll have to have a look at this grape to see if we need to reduce any of these bunches. We seem to have an awful lot of grape bunches on it. So that's next week. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. We do appreciate it. And hopefully we'll see you next week. Bye now.